Imagine someone telling you they are moving their family out of the country before 2026. Not for work, not for adventure, but because they believe World War III has already begun, and the West is no longer safe. Sounds extreme? Maybe. But after listening to journalist Annie Jacobsen, ex-CIA officer Andrew Bustamante, and global affairs expert Benjamin Radd speak with Stephen Bartlett on the Diary of a CEO, that decision starts to sound less like paranoia and more like preparation. This isn't fiction. It's a warning. In this video, you'll get 10 powerful takeaways from the conversation that will change the way you see war, peace, safety, and the real forces shaping our world right now. Takeaway 1. The real reason I'm leaving. One of the most shocking moments in the podcast is when one of the guests says they are planning to leave the United States before 2026. This is not a dramatic statement for attention. It is a serious decision based on everything they know from years of working in intelligence, studying war, and observing rising global tensions. They explain that most people do not understand how close we are to disaster. Unlike in past wars, the next one will not begin with a big announcement. It will likely start with a misunderstanding, or a cyber attack, or maybe even a fake video made by artificial intelligence. Once a missile is launched, there is no going back. The guests talk about the idea of safe zones, places in the world that might be less likely to be hit during a nuclear war. Surprisingly, islands like Hawaii are not safe because they are covered in military targets. Europe is not safe either for the same reason. Only a few places, like parts of South America or New Zealand, might give someone a real chance to survive. And even then, surviving is just the first step. Life after a nuclear war would mean no food systems, no hospitals, and no clean air. So when someone with deep knowledge says they're moving their family, maybe we should all stop and think about why. If that's how serious it is, then the next question is, how close are we really? Takeaway 2. Nuclear war is closer than ever. We often think of nuclear war as something from history class or science fiction. But according to Annie Jacobsen and Andrew Bustamante, it's far more real and far more likely than we want to believe. They tell the story of a Russian officer in 1983 who saved the world by refusing to report a false alarm. His radar showed what looked like a missile attack from the United States. But instead of triggering retaliation, he hesitated. If he had reacted, millions would have died. That happened when technology was simple. Now, with fast missiles, fragile leaders, and artificial intelligence, there are even more ways for something to go horribly wrong. There are 9 countries with nuclear weapons today. All it takes is one bad decision. The scary part is that these weapons are not just larger than before. They are faster. A decision must be made in minutes. You would not have time to call your loved ones or pack a bag. Most of us would not even know it was happening until it was over. And the people in charge are not always calm or rational. They are human. They have egos. And they can make mistakes. So if we are already in danger, is the war already happening? Takeaway 3. We are already in World War III. Many people think a world war means tanks rolling into cities or soldiers landing on beaches. But Andrew Bustamante says we are already living in World War III. We just don't see it, because it looks different now. Instead of full-scale invasions, we have cyber attacks, proxy wars, and information warfare. Countries like Russia, China, Iran, and even the United States are fighting each other through smaller battles in other countries. The internet is also a battleground. If a group of hackers in one country can take down another country's power grid, that is an act of war. It may not make the front page, but it changes lives. Even when we scroll through social media, we are seeing propaganda, influence campaigns, and digital manipulation. This silent war affects elections, economies, and public opinion. And the battlefield is not far away. It's your phone, your school, your city. So if the war is being fought differently, who is actually doing the fighting? Takeaway 4. Proxy wars are the new normal. In the past, countries sent their own armies to fight battles. Today, they let others do the dirty work. This is called proxy warfare. A rich country gives weapons, money, and training to a group in another country to fight their enemy for them. That way, they avoid losing their own soldiers. It's like using someone else's fist to throw your punch. The US, Russia, and Iran all use this tactic. The war between Russia and Ukraine is not just about those two countries. It is a proxy war involving NATO and Western interests. The same goes for conflicts in Syria and Yemen. Israel is acting as a proxy for US interests against Iran. These wars are hidden in plain sight. The public is told it is about local disputes, but behind the scenes, powerful countries are pulling the strings. This makes war cheaper, more hidden, and longer, and it puts civilians at the center of the violence. If governments are willing to do this in secret, can we even trust them to know what they are doing? Takeaway 5. Intelligence fails all the time. We tend to believe that intelligence agencies like the CIA or Mossad know everything. The truth is very different. In the podcast, the guests explain that intelligence is not a collection of facts. It is a best guess based on limited information. And sometimes those guesses are very wrong. For example, the CIA completely missed the Iranian Revolution in 1979. Israel's intelligence services missed signs leading up to the October 7th Hamas attack. These were not small mistakes. They were major failures that led to chaos. Even when warnings exist, they often get stuck in bureaucracy. One agency sees a threat, but another ignores it. Then disaster happens. In the real world, people in power do not always listen to experts. Some leaders even block or silence intelligence when it does not match what they want to believe. That makes everything more dangerous. If leaders ignore warnings, how do enemies take advantage of that? Takeaway 6. Division makes us easy targets. Benjamin Radd explains that the biggest threat to America might not come from bombs or missiles. It might come from inside. The country is deeply divided politically. People no longer trust their leaders or each other. That makes it easier for foreign enemies to manipulate and influence society. Countries like Russia and China use social media to feed anger, spread lies, and make Americans fight with each other. It is not hard. They just push stories that confirm what people already want to believe. The more divided the country becomes, the weaker it gets. When a country is distracted by internal fights, it cannot defend itself properly. And that opens the door for more attacks, both digital and real. When everyone is shouting, who controls what we hear? Takeaway 7. Who tells the story wins. Annie Jacobsen brings up an important point. The side that controls the story controls the war. In every conflict, there is the battle on the ground and the battle over public opinion. Governments and news agencies fight to shape the narrative. They want people to see them as the hero and their enemy as the villain. But sometimes that story is taken over. A news outlet uses the wrong headline. A social media post goes viral and changes how people see things. Once the story slips out of the hands of those in power, it is hard to get it back. That's why modern war is also a war of images, captions, and hashtags. A good example is how the US wanted a bombing mission in Iran to be seen as precise and limited, but the press called it an act of war. That one line can change how the whole world reacts. This is not about honesty. It is about influence. What happens when the story is not just twisted, but completely fake? Takeaway 8. One fake video could end it all. Artificial intelligence has made it possible to create fake videos that look completely real. This is more than just funny filters. It can be deadly. The podcast talks about how one AI-generated video showing a fake missile attack or a fake leader giving orders could trigger a real war. People in power might believe it and launch a response before checking the facts. There are already examples of fake videos being shared during conflicts, like in the Israel-Iran crisis. Some of them showed buildings exploding or people being harmed when none of it had actually happened. These videos spread fast, and many people believe them before anyone can correct the lie. The scariest part is that governments are not fully prepared for this. Intelligence teams do use advanced tools, but decisions still come down to humans. And humans panic. And even if we had perfect information, are the people in charge fit to handle it? Takeaway 9. World leaders can't admit they're wrong. Andrew and Benjamin explain that many leaders today suffer from something called cognitive dissonance. That means when they are given information that proves they are wrong, they double down instead of changing their mind. This happens a lot in politics and war. A leader makes a bad decision but refuses to admit it because they fear looking weak. Instead of correcting the mistake, they push harder. That can lead to war, especially when the leader controls a powerful military. The guests also raise the issue of aging leaders. If a president or prime minister is dealing with cognitive decline, they may not have the mental sharpness to react in time. Yet they still hold all the power. They can still launch a missile. That should scare all of us. So where does that leave the rest of us? Takeaway 10. This war is already personal. By the end of the podcast, one thing becomes clear. This is not a distant issue. This is your life. It affects your city, your job, your food, and your future. The guests are not fearmongers. They are experts. And their message is simple. The world is becoming more unstable, and the old rules no longer apply. War is not something that happens only on battlefields. It happens online, in headlines, in silence, and sometimes with one sudden flash. When a guest says they are moving their family before 2026, it is not to scare you. It is to wake you up. There is still time to prepare, still time to understand, but not much. The most dangerous thing is not war itself. It is not knowing we are in one. This podcast episode reminds us that we are already living through a silent global conflict, and the people with the knowledge are not calm. They are acting. They are warning. The question is, will we listen? If this shook you even a little, maybe it is time to ask yourself, if the smartest people in the room are moving their families, what are you doing? Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support this channel, hit the thanks button below. It really helps us keep going. If you enjoyed this summary, please leave a like and share it in your WhatsApp groups. To join discussion about this video, drop a comment below. And for more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below.